welcome to the Cult Connections Review Show. I'm your host, Ian Graham. In every episode, I will be joined by a guest to review what's new in the world of film and TV. So whatever takes my fancy, hopefully takes your fancy too. Come and join us on the Cult Connections Review Show. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Cult Connections Review Show. Joining me for the next 6 episodes in a galaxy far, far away, it is Mr. Mark Plant. Hello, Mark.
Hello there. I would like to be called Lola from now on, please, if you would.
Lola, okay.
Lola,
Aren't you a showgirl?
No, but I am Lola. And I do like champagne that tastes like cherry cola.
Yeah. So we are doing Obi Wan Part 1. Obi Wan Kenobi Part 1. There is no their title. It's just Part 1. Have you got an idea for the title, Mark?
Of the episode?
Yeah.
No, well, yeah, but only like George Lucas style rubbish titles. Like kidnapped! !
Okay.
Or the princess napping. I don't know. Yeah, really bad George Lucas ideas.
I've watched a bit of Blake 7 recently, and the first episode of that's got a great title in it, and it would actually fit in quite well here. It is The Way Back.
Oh,
so that could be quite nice. I've got a couple of their suggestions for other titles, and I'm going to mention those at the end. I do have a favourite. I will get to that though. Now, Mark, we are recording this on Monday. You've only just watched the episode. I obviously watched it on the Friday when it came out, and I've rewatched it. But first impressions?
Good old-fashioned Star Wars.
Oh,
it had a great mix of the prequels, and we've talked about this. I've reassessed the prequels recently, and I think 1 and 3 are rollicking fun. I think 2 is the piece of dog's turd that I've always thought it was. Yeah, but you know, it is what it is. But what I did think is this really did a great bridging the gap of modern droids, the droids we were used to in New Hope, and yeah, I'm in. And as soon as we finish recording this, I'm going to go watch the second one.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, because you have only managed to watch the first one.
Busy man, Ian.
You have been busy, yeah. I know you have had a very busy weekend, as you always do. So, we open up and we have a recap of the prequel. So, it's a bit of a greatest hits, sort of Obi-Wan.
I loved this. Did you? Did this?
Yeah, it was good.
It gave me goosebumps, this. And it's brilliant. And here's the thing. I've been... So I got... For your listeners and listeners that listen to Book of Boba Fett, you'll know my wife isn't a Star Wars fan like you and I are, and she'd never really watched the films all the way through. And when I first started with the films, I started with... Mistakenly, I started with episode 1. So we watched episode 1, Phantom Menace, and she wasn't into it at all. And I just thought, it's going to get worse from here in, because 2's garbage and 3, and it just becomes confusing. So let's just watch 77 onwards. So we did that. The problem is now, because we're going to watch these together, is I'm watching these 2 and getting an idea for the questions that she's going to ask me, because she doesn't have that grounding in the prequels that you and I and your listeners probably do. So she's going to be asking me various bits. I thought it was a really succinct sum up of the 3 films. And wasn't Ewan McGregor tiny little baby Ewan McGregor?
He was, yeah. Especially in the Phantom Menace, he's like just like a little boy, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, which is nice. So we have the recap, then we have titles, and just a little bit. There's no big fanfare. There's no open and scroll or anything like that.
Yeah.
So it's very much sort of TV Star Wars. That's how they are doing it. Then I really like this bit. So we are back. We are at the Jedi Temple in the middle of Order 66.
God,
We
my heart just. Oh God, I can't live through Order 66 anymore. Stop it! Stop making me live through it.
Well, I love this bit. So we see they're the Jedi. They are protecting. They're the younglings from the clone, the troopers. Interesting fact, Mark, and we will discuss this in the next episode. But just for you, that is the 501. The troopers. That's the 501st.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So they remember that. But I love this bit. Obviously, the Jedi they're protecting. They're the younglings. They're fighting off the clone their troopers. But the very last shot, and it sort of pans out, and the younglings are on like an upper deck, and you see all of the Jedi, and the clone their troopers are they going for them. I loved that bit. That was
me too.
Yeah.
Because it never seemed particularly big in the films, did it? We went to various different places where the clone troopers took down the Jedi very quickly.
Yeah.
But this is a full-on battle. I loved the work of the Padawan, the Jedi that's protecting the slightly younger younglings.
Yeah.
I thought she did a great job. And I actually thought she was going to survive, even though I know.
Yeah. So we see that, and then they say that we have to run. So that's the end of that. Now I heard a little bit of internet moaning about this bit.
Why?
Because we've seen Order 66. Apparently, we don't need to see it again. Blah blah blah.
It raises the stakes of the show. It raises the stakes of the program that we see it again and that we experience it again. In my opinion, we need to be taken back because we haven't. I certainly haven't been there for 10 years. I don't think I've watched. I think I've only watched Revenge once in the last 10 years. When I reassessed it. So I needed to be taken back. I needed that emotion. I also needed the extended thing at the beginning. I needed to see You Were the Chosen One. I needed to see I Have the High Ground, memeable.
Yeah.
But yeah, you Were the Chosen One. I sobbed my heart out in the cinema at that. I really did. I cried my eyes out in the cinema at that. You know me. I cry everything.
Yeah. But fans had mentioned, but we've seen Order 66 in the Clone Wars, which is amazingly well done because it's about the Ahsoka's their part in Order 66. We also see it in the Bad Batch as well, so it does come up in that. But if you don't watch animated Star Wars, then there's absolutely nothing wrong with a bit of Order 66. In fact, I'd like every Star Wars series to have a bit of it. Wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be marvelous?
It would certainly tug at my heartstrings. That's for sure.
Something else I think we should see in every Star Wars series, Mark, is our next shot because it is 10 years later. And where are we?
We're on Tatooine.
Really?
Oh yeah, the moaning. I've managed to mute Obi Wan because I knew I wouldn't see anything this week, and so I'm going to unmute it tonight, right, on Twitter. But I know for a fact there's going to be people griping and groaning and complaining, and it's all the same podcasts, and it's all the same people, and it's all the same accounts. I'm sick of Tatooine. It's cheap. It's cheap, and it is a great place. It is such an important part. They're going to do Endor at some point, and folk are going to fucking complain about that. I, for one, need an Ewok TV series. Anyway.
Well, we might sort of cover that at some point. However, Mark, you can't have a series called Obi Wan Kenobi and it not be set on their Tatooine. We know that. We know it's going to be there. So we see a busy market town. Is this? I mean, where is this?
It's a proper hive of scum and villainy. This, isn't it? There's people playing dice.
Yeah. Is it Mos Eisley? I don't know.
I assumed it was a smaller place than Mos Eisley.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what the others are called.
Well, there's a Toshi station, but I
think that is just like a little. I think that's like a service station.
I think yeah.
It's like T-Bay.
Yeah. So
Woolly Edge, somewhere like that. Yeah.
Something like that. Anyway, so we're at this market there town. A shuttle comes down, it lands. The Inquisitors come out. They're all, given it. They're the big one.
Where do they head to? They go for a nice, refreshing pint. Yeah,
pint. Yeah.
Inquisitors after my own heart, that's for sure.
So they're in the Nag's Head, or they're the Queen Vic, or the
Dagmar.
The Dagmar. Yeah.
Second Wilmot Brown reference of a Star Wars podcast. Yeah,
they didn't offer a worldwide. Their listeners are in. Are they in their Sam's Bar or somewhere like that? I'm not sure. But anyway, so they're in a bar. The Grand Inquisitor gives a big speech. He's given it there the big one.
He's talking, Ian, about the Jedi Code. He says the Jedi Code. They all follow the Jedi Code, and they'll be doing this and they'll be doing that. And all I could think was the only code I could think was Darth Vader. He was the Green Cross Code man, wasn't he?
He was indeed. Yeah. And should we have a Sith character that has a West Country accent? Should that be that I think we should have that. I think that should be done.
For the listeners that don't know, I'm sure everybody knows this. You can hear the original audio as spoken by the original Darth Vader with his West Country accent. Where are those plans?
Yeah.
It's great. It's fantastic.
It's you can see why. The thing is, we can see why Lucas got it dubbed over. However, David Prowse couldn't. He was as miffed about this.
Till his dying day,
yeah,
absolutely, he was, yeah. But you very simply, you get a voice like Caramel, Carmel for your overseas listeners, and they, and you cannot beat that cadence and that fantastic pronunciation of the Darth Vader that we know and love.
Yeah, and
Simba's dad.
And it makes the character, doesn't it? So
yeah.
I wanted to mention one thing before we actually talk about what happens here. But the Grand Inquisitor, with his fancy headphones, are they needing charged up? Because he's just got a red light going on. Should they be blue?
Yes, yeah. Should it not be blue? Yeah, Bluetooth. He's also got painting on eyebrows really high up his head, so he looks surprised the whole time. Now, you know a little bit more about the Grand Inquisitor than I do. We talked about this when we did.
I'm Mark, I'm gonna talk about this more for episode 2.
Okay, great.
Okay. Yeah. So we see the Grand in the Inquisitor and his two underlings.
So
they are there.
I've got to say, one of these looks badass, right? Your man with the massive hat, with the massive stupid hat, looks absolutely badass.
Yeah.
But he's not the badass one. The badass one, as the Americans would say, is was it Inquisitor Sister 3?
Yeah, she's the third sister.
Yeah, she is nutty. She's gonna. I'm putting it out there. She's gonna kick off big style. She is gonna be an absolute bad one.
Yeah.
because she's shown here that she has no patience, no time, and she's just, as we see in the later scene, she's just, and this scene, she's just nasty.
Yeah, yeah. And this is it. So he's given the big speech. She gets fed up. She throws a knife at a poor innocent bloke, and the young Jedi who was sitting there nice and quiet and going, "Oh God, I hope I don't get spotted." So he stops it with the Force. He manages to do one, thankfully. He manages there to get out. The Inquisitor there berates the third sister. He's not happy with her tactics. Then we're at the desert now. Mark, I've got this in my notes as being a sand whale. I'm not exactly sure what this sort of creature is.
I'd written, this isn't a crate dragon, because we all know what a crate dragon looks like.
Yeah.
But I had no idea what it was. It was the fins that were strange. But a whale is about right, because they're taking the meat that they're taking from it is great. It's this fantastic little cottage industry that's just opened up in the in the desert, and I loved that. So are these creatures? Are they something you're aware of, or is it something that you've just seen in a kind of like a Wikipedia kind of thing?
I've got no idea what these are, so I don't know, Mark. I
like that. You like that, don't you? Like the crate dragon in the original Star Wars 77, which of course you did an episode with the Spy Hards boys on.
Did indeed.
But that I liked the mystery of that. I always liked the mystery of that. When they did it in The Mandalorian, great episode, but fantastic episode. First episode of season 2 was really good, but it took a little bit of the mystery away from me, and I kind of didn't want it to. I wanted it to be never discussed.
Well, like you say, Mark, if you want to add a bit of mystery, just watch one of our dinosaurs is missing, which will give you a bit of a hint about the crate there dragon and its origins, as it were. So I like this there. Kenobi's he's working there the line. He's chopping up a bit of this a sand whale meat.
He's a butcher.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, it doesn't look that sort of difficult to chop up.
No, I mean it is all sheer meat.
Yeah.
There's a bit where there's Mans is cutting off the blubber. You can see that in a little bit, but yeah, it looks to be just sheer meat. And every now and again, he takes a little bit and wraps it up in a bit of swaddling and puts it in his thing. I've worked in factories. Ian, have you?
I've worked in a salmon factory.
Have you really?
Yeah.
How was that, other than stinking?
Well, it was smoked salmon, so they would cure the salmon, and then we would pack it up, and that's.
My mouth's watering just thinking about that. Yeah. Did you get a staff discount?
To be honest, I was only about 19, so I wasn't really a smoked salmon the sort of connoisseur at the time.
You're a socialist, Ian. You would never. You would never. I worked in a Christmas pudding factory.
All right.
For when I was at college.
Oh, that's funny, summer. Mark, because you look a bit like a Christmas pudding. So
shut your face. I also worked in a cheese factory briefly with a man with a prosthetic nose, but that's a different story for another time.
Oh dear. So he's working there the line. He's taking the journey back to his cave. So he's not in his house that overlooks the canyon. He's in a cave.
Yeah, and it's just him. It's just him and his steed, really, isn't it? It's just him. They're called Eoes, or I think they're called. I can't remember. But the thing that blows a raspberry at Jar Jar. How would? I had to get Jar Jar in there, didn't I?
Now, well, I've got an issue about that. Now, obviously, we see him sort of travelling, so he gets the bus back from the sand whale there to the town. So put a bus on. Well, it's a space
Yeah,
bus.
it's
It's
the
a
factory
stand bus.
minibus. Yeah.
Yeah. So they put a bus on. So he gets back to the town, and then he gets on his camel to go. I'm not sure. Could they not, drop him off on the bus so they doesn't have to go back to town? It's a
Yeah,
bit of
but
a faff on, isn't it?
as we see, the foreman, who's one of these "Hey, it's that guy" characters, I think I've seen him in loads of things, but only in kind of like passing. He's just one
Yeah.
of these fun of guys. He's a bad one. He pays one of them. All of a sudden, he's dropped the amount that people get paid. It's down to half. By the way, I loved this droid that churned out the credits like a slot machine in Vegas.
Yeah.
you put your kind of timestamp in, and it just gives you a couple of shekels. I was into that.
Well. Talking of the droids, Mark. Now, so Obi Wan gets back to his cave. Now, I have an issue with Obi Wan when it comes to their droids.
You've never talked about it.
No, I've never mentioned it except on probably every Star Wars their podcast that I've ever done. Now, is he? Did he just rescue a bit of the R4 and it's plonked in the front of his cave just to keep an eye out, or is he the Joseph the Fritzl of their Tatooine? Has he got a full R2 unit buried under it? Under his cave, and it's only the little sort of camera bit that can, spy over the top. I'm a bit worried here.
I'm disappointed that you lowered the tone. I'll be honest. I thought that's what you got me on for. It's weird and disconcerting, that it really is. But he's not alone in his little cave right now, is he?
So his Jawa mate turns up. He's been looking for a model, a model spaceship. This is obviously the same model that we see Luke there playing with in A New Hope.
Yeah.
So
Tika is the Jedi, which sorry, is the Jawa. Tika, I would argue, sounds like an Ewok name. Doesn't sound like a Jawa name, but I don't think we've ever had a Jawa name before. So what do I know? Tika sounds like Chief Chirper or whatever they were called, stupid names that they were given.
You really are going for the Endor spin-off, aren't you?
We have to have it. It's the thing we want to watch. Maybe we should do an Ewok spin-off episode where we talk about both those Ewoks films from the 80s and an episode of the cartoon.
And the animated series as well. There we go. 3 things all sorted, Mark. There we go.
Great.
You have committed yourself to that.
Don't I always?
You idiot. So the Jawa tells him about the Jedi that was in the town. Next we see him. He's having a snooze. He's having a bit of a nightmare.
Before that, I've got to point out this Jawa is your perfect example of a Jawa trying to sell him back stuff that he nicked from him. Which is great. And then haggling him up in price. And I love that. But yeah, you're absolutely right. He's remembering all the awful stuff that's happened, including Liam Neeson getting killed, which as soon as I saw that and then he cries out for him, I thought, oh my God, Liam Neeson's going to be, Qui-Gon's going to be in it. I'm so excited. And he wasn't. And I'm sure he will be. My forecasting is, I'm seeing sight for sight, he is going to be in it. Of course he is. But I want him in it now. I love Qui-Gon.
So he wakes up from his nightmare. He calls out for, he calls out for Master Qui-Gon, but nothing happens. Then in the morning, Uncle Obi-Wan goes off and spies on one of the local children. And sneaks a gift in for him as well.
Yeah. And let's be honest, he a little bit later on, there's the kind of the fallout of this. And I think he gets away lucky because I think Owen, as we're going to see, I think he can fucking handle himself.
Yeah.
Pardon my language, but he can handle himself. And I'm absolutely astounded he just doesn't give old Ben a bit of a battering here. They guess he's potentially scared of getting force choked or something.
Well, I think he probably is like, yeah, I know what these guys can do. I better not sort of push him. So, and then he goes back to the cave, and Nori is there. So this is the young Jedi that we saw earlier. He there approaches Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan there denies who he is, although it's quite obvious, and obviously Nori knows this. There he tells him there to leave. The fight is done. We lost, he says.
Yeah.
Sad stuff.
Yeah, I agree. And the kid, like all young idealistic people, wants to still continue to take the fight. Obi-Wan, of course, is saying, "It's done, son. It's over." And as we discover a little bit later on, he's not the man he was 10 years ago.
Yeah. Indeed, he is changed a lot. However, in our next scene, I loved this, Mark. I absolutely loved this. To my very bones, we are on Alderaan.
Yeah,
it's Princess Leia.
It was gorgeous, wasn't it, Alderaan?
Yeah,
fantastic. Shame it no longer exists. Yeah, it's so cute. What a cute kid.
What a cheeky scam.
She's trouble. She's a wee troublemaker.
And actually, I wasn't expecting this. I didn't get any sort of clues from the trailer or anything that that this is where the story would go. So I just loved it. I thought, yeah, she's obviously she's out. She plays a trick on her mom, and she's out in the woods, and she's obviously really smart. She's watching all the ships going up. She knows what they are.
Train spotter.
Yeah, well, but
train spotter. Yeah.
You can see, she's really sort of keen, and
yeah, she says to her droid Lola, "I love Lola. Battery's not included." She's a cute little thing, but she's like, "Oh, do you think it's Merson Pirates?" I was like, "Paul Merson Pirates."
That's a
reference for nobody.
That is a reference absolutely for nobody. Now, Mark, here we go. So this is something else that you hear a lot about. I heard it a lot from The Mandalorian. And again, this is fans moaning. And, Lola, it's a cute droid. Oh, that's the Disneyfication of Star Wars. Because all they want to do is to sell, toys and their merchandise. Because Star Wars was never about their merchandise and selling things ever, was it?
Merchandising. No. Look, Lucas is the daddy of merchandising. Nobody did toys like Lucas did toys.
Yeah.
Fantastic stuff. And as it's Obi-Wan, let's talk about the fact that they got that they got the original Obi-Wan actor Alec Guinness on the cheap and offered him, I think he was on 1% of the toy sales.
Yeah.
And it was the biggest payday he ever had.
Yeah.
Biggest payday he ever had. Great.
He was minted after that. So.
Yeah, of course he was. I mean, I'm sure he wasn't short of a few bob anyway from the Ealing comedies, but then that really, really made him his money. That's why he spent his closing days out at the Groucho Club with Alan Bennett.
So so who cares about toys or anything like
the toys have always been cute. The droids have always been cute. R2's cute. The monsters have always been quite cute kind of creatures.
Yeah.
Chewbacca's a cute guy. Okay, he'll rip your arms off. The Ewoks, I know I keep bringing it back to Ewoks, but the Ewoks are cute little, human eating teddy bears.
Yeah. So so-called Star Wars fans, you can stick that up your pipe.
Yeah, stop moaning. Stop moaning about a children's TV program. I
So
know I say this every week.
so we're back on the Tatooine. Obi-Wan's back at work.
Mm-hmm.
Again, he nicks a bit of meat. Is he a thieving bastard?
My mum, when I was a kid, used to work at Thornton's Chocolate Factory in Derbyshire, and she would always nick chocolates. But yeah, she wouldn't eat them. I would get them. I guess that explains quite a few things about I'm such a fat bastard. But she would nick them. But if you worked on the line, you were sick of it made you sick. The smell made you sick of chocolates. You never ate them. But yeah, I guess she shouldn't have done that, but she did.
Yeah, but and I'm not sure if he's nicking it for himself. He does give some of it to his camel.
He does. Yeah, he does.
He
I
does.
would have assumed that creature would be a herbivore, but doesn't look like it's got the teeth.
No.
For it, but then neither have I. So.
But anyway, so he's at work. He gets the bus back to town. He's with the camel. Owen there turns up, throws the model back at him. They have a bit of a barney. Owen there delivers that crunching line, isn't he? Like you trained his father. Kicks him in the. Where it hurts, really.
He must be trained. What, like you trained his father? Yeah. It's an absolute one in the plums, that, isn't it?
Yeah, isn't it just?
Yeah.
Then, the Inquisitors turn up again.
So they're just cutting about Tatooine, aren't they? They're just randomly wandering around this village, looking for.
Well, I mean, they obviously know. I mean, they can feel the Force, as it were. Mm-hmm. So they know that there is the Jedi's there. You'd imagine they can sense some kind of their presence going on. Their third sister again is a bit of a wild one. She lops off someone's hand.
Loose cannon. Oh yeah, just this farmer woman.
Yeah. There she grills Owen. She basically threatens to kill him and his family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Until the bloke kind of steps in and is like, again, you've gone over the mark. Then he does it. They sort of tell her off. Then we're back to Alderaan.
And I think this is timely with the Jubilee coming up in Britain this coming weekend. It's nice to have extra few days off, but I would actually quite like to burn the monarchy if it's all the same with you, Ian.
I wouldn't say no to that, Mark. I think you know my feelings about that one. It's funny, Leia herself is like, well, it's just do I have to go to this thing? It's just me doing lots of waving. Which obviously is a monarchy thing. Now it's funny. So Bail Organa, we know he's a senator. He does lots of the diplomatic missions.
Mm-hmm.
He's hosting a reception. So there's lots of bigwigs and their family, and there we have a glimpse of C-3PO.
Yeah,
he's handing out their Ferrero Rochers,
which you'd have been happy with. Yeah, you're desperate to see them fucking put these droids in at every possible opportunity that they can.
It's you know what we go on about. Oh, it's the Skywalker saga and it's Anakin's story and all that, but it's actually R2-D2's story.
Of course,
he's the main sort of character.
Absolutely, it is. And
so
this other C3 unit, which I assume is C3YO, And she says, "Oh, thank you, YO." And this little scrote of a cousin of hers is like, "You thank your droids?" She's like, "Yeah, because it's the right thing to do." I mean, I'm honestly guilty. Listeners, don't shun me. I'm guilty of thanking Siri when it puts the song on for me. And I did once thank a cash machine when I'd had a couple of pints. So don't judge me.
My note here, Mark, just says the cousin is an asshole.
Yeah, he's a little prick.
Yeah, he is.
And she basically says you just act like your dad because you're scared of him. You act like your dad because he won't accept you. And I was kind of like, wow, that's brilliant. And his retort is, yeah, but you're not even a real Organa. I was like, oh man, she's just a 10-year-old. She's just a little girl. Don't be such a dick.
No. Well, we obviously know better than this. She might not be an Organa, but she is royalty, as it were, or she's certainly of good standing.
Right.
On her mother's side, anyway. So
yeah, exactly. Jimmy Schmitz is looking old, isn't he?
Well,
I don't think he's that old. I don't even think he's that old. I think he's maybe only 60. Isn't he?
Is he?
But he's looking. Oh, he's not half aging.
So they have a bit of dialogue, her and her dad, and she makes out like, yeah, I'm gonna be their good. But actually, she skips back to the forest, so she'll exit, and she is then kidnapped by the red hot the chili peppers. So
yeah, I've got Flea and the mask.
and the mask, right?
Smoking. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. So Layla get Layla. So Leia gets kidnapped. Obi Wan gets the bat signal. So that
he does.
This
thing's going. This thing's beeping. He's like, "The fucking hell is that?" He's going through this box of things that he's not opened for ages.
Yeah.
There was a Sega Game Gear in there.
I did. Yeah. It was. I was like, yeah.
Could knock your N gauge.
Some little handheld thing that he's got.
Yeah. And it's 66-year-old Jimmy Smits. He's 66. Yeah. I've just looked it up.
And So obviously they are saying to him, look, we don't trust anyone else. You need to come and get a blah blah blah. He tells him to go and find somewhere else. He's a little bit of an arse here, Mark. I do think.
I think he's not the character we saw, and he's not the character he will become. But he points out that his dedication is to the boy, is to Luke, and is not to Leia. And Bale says something along the lines of, and again, I'm paraphrasing, she's important too. She has powers too. So, it was just because they've called on him. But what he says is, you can just get a bounty hunter there, and as we know, the Star Wars universe is full of them, absolutely rampacked full of bounty hunters. So I would assume Boba Fett is potentially in his early 20s at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who knows? Who knows? Get him.
But so he's back at work. Then he goes back, so he gets the bus back again. He gets the bus back to town, and he finds the young Jedi hung up, basically. So they've obviously found him, and now he's dead. So he feels guilty about that. And then Bale turns up at his cave, and tells him to get a grip, basically.
Yeah.
And so he does.
We see him heading off planet with his lightsaber at his side.
Well, Now, there's an interesting bit about this. So just prior to this, Mark, Flea breaks Lola. He
Yeah.
is a bit of a wanker.
Oh, yeah. Sad.
He does that. Um, Now we've spoke a little bit, obviously, about the prequels, about the original trilogy, but there's a bit of a nod here to the prequels. So Obi Wan has to go out into the desert, and he has to dig up his lightsaber,
Yeah.
and not just his lightsaber, Anakin's lightsaber as well.
Yeah.
So he's buried them both in the desert, and of course this actually ties in to the final scene in um, the rise of the Skywalker, where the Rey actually buries her lightsabers in the very same desert. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's these things are sturdy, aren't they?
yeah,
I mean, if that was your phone, get one grain of sand in it, it's done.
yeah,
Lightsabers.
fairly primitive sort of technology, I reckon, though.
It's a laser. What do you mean primitive technology? It's a
Well,
fucking laser. we can't make them. We can't make them today.
well, it's a kyber crystal, so
Yeah, okay.
yeah, if you want to go down that line. But yeah, and then and then we see we see Flea talking to the third sister
Mm-hmm.
just before that. So it's a trap. So we know
What's a trap?
it's not about Leia. It is a trap. It is for Obi Wan, because third sister is obsessed with finding Obi Wan. Sounds like she's a bit of a crawler. She wants to rise up the ranks, and so this is her way of doing it. And also I think they kind of hinted at, even if no one's even sure actually if Obi Wan is there still alive, or if he's still around, or anything like that. So
Yeah, he's done a very good job of going to ground.
yeah, so he goes back to the planet that the Sith Lord grew up on, and he's changed his first name. Yeah. He's done a great job there, hasn't he?
Yeah, but you wouldn't expect a Jedi Knight to be working, as a butcher.
No. You know what? To be fair, you wouldn't. And in a way, he's hiding in their plain sight as well. It's the most obvious place to think of, and they do that, and they've got the balls there to do it. So, but we do. Our final shot is Obi-Wan is at the spaceport, and he's away to get on their space bus. So there's lots of buses going on.
There's lots of buses.
Yeah. That is the end of part one. And it was amazing.
It was amazing. It was so much fun. It was great. There was not a great amount of effects, but what was there looks good. We saw Alderaan for the first time, finally. We're fleshing out a world, or we're fleshing out people and a kind of a background of a time that we've never seen before. So remind me, Ian, because I was thinking this earlier on, and I jumped straight from watching it to coming on here. Luke was Luke meant to be 16 in 77? New Hope. 16 or 18?
Probably about 18.
Yeah, right. Okay,
roughly.
Because
I think so.
This kid looks tiny. This kid is tiny, and same with Leia. She's a tiny little baby.
Yeah. Well, they should be 10.
Yeah.
10. To be fair, I mean, Carrie Fisher was quite small.
Yeah, she was. Yeah.
Maybe Luke has a bit of a teenage growth spurt.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I was all I could think was they're teeny tiny little baby kiddies.
Yeah.
And I couldn't remember if it was 16 or 18 or kind of 20.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seems like a very short period of time for those kids to quote unquote grow up,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking forward to. I think we'll maybe only see a couple of little bits of Luke, but I think we're going to see a lot of Leia, and none of us could have expected as much Leia as we're going to see.
Yeah.
And that's great, and that's fantastic, because more Disney princesses, please. We've had a lot of male characters
Yeah.
in this Star Wars expanded universe TV shows, but we haven't had too many strong female characters other than Ming-Na Wen's character, who is great. But yeah, we've not seen a lot of strong women, so hopefully seeing a young, strong kind of little girl will
Mm-hmm.
be a nice inspiration for other girls who probably don't get much of a kick out of Star Wars because it's a lot of male characters. Yeah.
So I am obviously going to say nothing, Mark. You are just going to go off and watch episode 2.
I am.
We are going to have a 24-hour gap, so we will come back tomorrow, and we will talk episode 2. I think your prediction might come true a little
Oh,
bit
right. Okay.
on
Okay.
the.
Yeah. I keep forgetting that you've
So
got an episode on me. Yeah.
I do, but it was superb. So, Mark, I'm just going to round us off, okay?
Yeah.
So Nathan Greenaway, he suggested we call this episode Moulin Rouge. I'm sorry, Nathan, that's rubbish. You're not getting back. Actually, that's not true. Nathan absolutely is getting back because he's great. Um, now, Mark, your friends, so they're super familiar with the Wilsons, have suggested Obi Exposition, and I'm
Very
going
good,
with that
Josh.
one
Well done. Yeah.
because I love that. That is
Josh messaged me on Friday night and said, "Oh my God, Obi-Wan," and I'm like, "Not a word, Wilson, not a word until I watch it at the end of the weekend."
Yeah, so I am going with that one. So thank you very much for listening to Obi Wan Kenobi Part 1 Obi Exposition. So thanks for listening. Thank you, Mark.
Goodbye there.
I will see you tomorrow.
I'll see you tomorrow for another episode. Yeah, exciting.
And to you all, in whatever galaxy you are in, no matter how far away it may be, may the force be with you.